And I really, really want to use this time to talk about an issue that I think all of us face, especially within our organizations. It's really how to achieve success with limited resources. And it's important to know that before we get into how to achieve social media success, it's important to have passion. And I think that's important, and you all are here because you're passionate about the companies you work for, the industry you work in, and meeting with all of us. So, there we go. I want to start off with a quote by Steve Jobs. A small team of A+ players can run circles around B and C players. This is important. It's not necessarily about how many people you have, but the passion and the effectiveness of your team and of your department. So that really resonated when I was putting this presentation together. So you're probably thinking, how can San Francisco relate to limited resources? And so I'm going to give you a little bit of background. In 2010, I came on board. That's not my cat. I came on board in 2010. We had started on Facebook and Twitter before I got there. And we had a huge following. We were 300,000 on Facebook at the time, 19,000 on Twitter, and we were the #1 DMO in terms of numbers when I joined. And we thought, all right, job done. We are, drop the mic. The job is so easy. But we were really served a piece of humble pie when we realized, although we have these big numbers, we really weren't doing it right. In 2010, we actually only had 2% of our entire traffic come from social. We didn't know anything about our customer. We knew what got a like, what got a share, and a comment, and that was it. We didn't know anything. And so evolving to 2014, obviously there are new platforms coming on. We're now on Instagram, Pinterest, and Google+, to name a few, but our focus still is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And along with new platforms, of course, the algorithm. It's changed, and it's making harder for us to reach our customers for the base that we built up. And so, obviously, the evolution of a Facebook post from a simple text post to one that has pictures to now really utilizing content the right way. And so we've been shifting to really provide value for our audiences. And so just in the last 6 months, that's when the algorithm really changed and everyone was yelling about how they had decreased reach. We've actually had 48% month over month engaged Facebook users. We started a hashtag, AlwaysSF, that's proliferated on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and that number's old. We're actually approaching 30,000 when I put this together on Monday. And social is actually the second best performing traffic on our site. It converts. It's one of the highest converting types of traffic. And on top of that, we actually have driven 25% of our entire audience from social to our website. And from 2010 to 2014, the entire pie has actually grown. From 2010, we had 3.2 million visitors. In 2014, we had 5.4 million visitors. So really, how did we take this shift from 2010 to 2014? How much did the team grow in that time? It stayed 1. So what I hope to share with you within this presentation are takeaways that you can go home and really move the needle yourself, and really become a champion and achieve that success that you want in social media. So, overarching, basically, as a team of one, you don't want to do everything. You obviously just want to do what matters, and what matters is this, said by Jay Baer a couple days ago. It's really, the goal isn't to be good at social media, the goal is to be good at business because of social media. So, without further ado, here are 6 things that really can move the needle all by yourself. It took me 4 years to learn these things. I hope you guys learn what I learned in 4 years in the next 30 minutes. So number one seems very, very simple, but it's devise a strategy. Literally write it down. And here's what we ask ourselves at San Francisco Travel when we're devising a social strategy and thinking about expanding or evolving our current strategy is, why are you there? Do you have, is there information you want to share, assets you want to create? Who is your audience? Of course, it could be every visitor who wants to go to San Francisco, but really, is it a return visitor? Is it the single mother at home watching rom-coms who you want to connect with? You really need to know who your audience is and serve them. It can be an audience that you don't even have yet. So you might understand the audience that really resonates with your content, but if you want to expand into a different audience, that's okay too. You just need to know what that is. And what are you trying to achieve? What are the goals? What are the metrics? And really, can it scale? As a team of one, you need to build something, and it might be a slow build, but at some point, you have to make sure that you hit an inflection point and it actually increases the output that you want without more work. So once you've answered these 4 questions, you then identify measurable goals. And now goals for us have evolved. And we're going to go over first goals that suck for us. And they are fans, followers, likes, retweets, hearts, comments, and the dreaded reach. These are metrics you should be aware of, but you shouldn't tie them to your goals. And why? It's because these goals aren't on our own platforms. These metrics are on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and they control that platform. They change the rules all the time. Do not build your platform on rented space. Really take ownership of the destination and figure out where you want to build it, where you own it. Because honestly, those goals don't tell us anything about our customers. A single like doesn't tell me what else they went to on my site, or how long did they actually read it? Did they actually share it? It doesn't tell me that much. But goals that kick ass are what I call the ABCs: awareness, brand engagement, and conversion. Awareness for us is click-throughs, visits, and page views. Brand engagement is page depth. How many pages did they actually go into our site after we shared something? Or on-site shares, there's hashtag engagement, and then conversion, purchase intent, email sign-up, deal redemption. These are all metrics that we can track, and we really focus on setting up funnels so that we know we're hitting our right audience. And this is all done through our Google Analytics. So that's a platform we use to identify what is working, what isn't. Number 3, after you've devised your strategy, after you have identified measurable goals and metrics that tie back to those goals, is create content that's compelling. Now, you're probably like, well, what's actually compelling? I'll give you an example. This man is Nate Silver, chief data scientist for ESPN. He correctly guessed who was going to be president, among other things, last time. And he now runs a big blog, 538, for ESPN. One day, he said, we're going to create America's Best Burritos bracket. And we're going to think San Francisco has some good burritos. About 4 that we're going to put on there. It got headway in social, and we noticed it. So we checked social and see what people were saying about burritos in San Francisco. Question is, burritos are people's favorite things. They go from the airport directly to get a burrito, and when they're even in New York, they're thinking about burritos in San Francisco. And honestly, I agree with them. I think we don't have just 4 great burritos. We have so many great burritos that it actually feels like San Francisco is one big tortilla. So it does it an injustice. And so from that, we decided to create content and create our own point of view about burritos. And this is where we came up with best burritos in San Francisco by neighborhood. We created this simple piece of content and because it was resonating with our audience. So after creating it, what did we do? How do we know if it's effective or not? Well, of course, we shared it on Facebook. We looked at the stats and found that 18,000 people went to this one piece of content, and that's a huge win for us. From 18,000 people, we can glean stats on where they went on our site afterwards, where they dropped off, and how many people actually signed up. And we thought, okay, it can't be just a flash in the pan, so we shared it again. This is evergreen content. We don't have to create it once and then share it once. You can create it once and share it multiple times. And we shared it again, and it was successful. And we gave each other high fives around the office, or it was just me running around the office giving high fives to the rest of my team. But really, what did we do next? We actually learned that that was the right format that people got and digested our information. So we copied it, and we created an article about ramen, because the only thing better than burritos is ramen in the city. And we started the cycle all over again. So that's how we create compelling content and how we know it works. Really, it boils down to these things. Know your audience and know what they want simply by asking them. And we use social to ask them. We ask them on a regular basis, are you planning a trip to San Francisco? How can we help? And we ask on Facebook, we want to know where your favorite stop outside of San Francisco is. From this asking these questions, we can create content that resonates with not only the person asking it, but other people who might have the same question. And really, it's all about being helpful. We want to answer people's questions. I use Google over here because Google is a tool that you can figure out what content do people want about your destination. And we can answer, what should I do in San Francisco? What should I do in San Francisco tonight? What should I do in life? And the answer would be come to San Francisco. What should I do in Minecraft? It would probably be build a San Francisco like city in there. But I mean really, answer their questions. So we ask on Facebook, on Twitter all the time, and we get questions that we actually that ask ridiculous things, like tricky one for you. Best place to get cast iron hairpin coffee table legs in San Francisco. And honestly, I actually had to Google that to see if it was a real thing. And I actually tweeted that to him, being like, we didn't believe you. But we found it on Google, and we actually tweeted back at him, this is where you can find it in San Francisco, but you can also order it online. This interaction wasn't meant to get them to come to San Francisco. This interaction was to create a connection with them. Afterwards he said, hi, you're good, can't find a place I can walk in and get them either, perhaps stuff on Val. Ordering is the next best, thanks. So it's about being helpful. And then telling a story. Tell a story that hasn't been told before, or one that has, but from a different point of view. I put up a bunch of pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge because it is something that resonates really well with our audience, but we can't just show the same boring picture over and over again. We show it in different perspectives. We talk about Fort Point, which is below the bridge. It's a Civil War fort. We also talk about Hopper's Hands, which is around the area. So there's much more to this bridge than meets the eye. And then finally, choose the right format for you and copy it. So best burritos, then we created best Chinese restaurants in San Francisco by neighborhood. Copy it. Make sure it's evergreen, because you're a team of one again, and you need to create content that will last much longer and not perish. Number 4 is curate meaningful content, because honestly, you're not the only ones out there creating content about your destination. There are other people who love the city that you represent, and they're creating content too. So what you do is you can identify these content publishers within your city, like we have here. We have Bold Italic, a lifestyle blog, and then Marcia Gagliardi, a food blogger. These are people we've identified as an example of people who are really publishing good content about the city. Share their content. That's what we do, and see what resonates. We shared 10 best nachos in San Francisco, and then we saw a comment, "Thank you, my life is complete now." That really resonates with us, that this is content that they want. And then figure out how to incorporate them into your goals. At San Francisco Travel, we have a blogger program where we have come into partnership with Bold Italic, Marcia Gagliardi, and a number of other bloggers that allow us to syndicate their content, giving them exposure to our audience and vice versa. Number 5 is cultivate a community, or really join one. Because honestly, your destination is all about the people who live in there and really love what they do. So a couple of things that you can do with a team of one is really go out, identify them, meet them in person, buy them a cup of coffee, introduce yourself, say thank you. These little things go a long, long way. And then know what other communities your members are participating in. This is a way to find other people and really expand upon your community. And then obviously create a platform around them and champion them. We do that with Always SF. We started it on Instagram, and then it's continuing to grow. And I mean champion all of them. From the person who has 866,000 Instagram followers to the one who has 62. Because the one who has 62 is just as happy to have their picture shown, shared, as the bigger person does. And everyone matters. And then put them front and center. And not just through one channel, but promote them through all of your channels. We have chosen content creators and influencers to take over our Facebook page from time to time. We have a famous fog. His name is Carl. He has a great Instagram account and a great Twitter account. He's huge on social media. We actually connected with him and had him take over our Facebook page one day to share what he loves about the city, to showcase different things that might interest other people. And number 6 is track your performance. Remember your ABCs: awareness, brand engagement, conversion, and really look at these every single day and reiterate on them. It's important to know what's working and what isn't. As a team of one, you really, really need to do what matters and not everything. So it's really, really important. And then ultimately, you want to be the pipeline of information about your destination this time, next time, and every time, regardless of where they are in the funnel. And this is a goal that we are working towards at San Francisco Travel. So with that, that's it. Thank you.